Korin Locke was just a gamer who woke up inside the world of the heroic legend of Arthon, a game he knew inside out. At first, he wasn't worried. After all, he wasn't the protagonist. That role belonged to Park Si-hoo, the hero destined to defeat the final boss. Korin believed all he had to do was survive and follow the script. But the deeper he followed Si-hoo, the more things felt wrong. Missing heroines, twisted quests, and secrets buried beneath the surface. By the time he uncovered the truth, it was horrifying. The so-called hero was a monster, farming the blood of the heroines and hiding an obsession far darker than any final boss. Korin died, betrayed and powerless after Hero failed to defeat the final boss alone. Now returned to the very beginning, he's no longer naive. This isn't a game. The hero is the threat, and Korin's only goal now is simple. Stop Si-hoo before he becomes unstoppable, so he could calmly enjoy his wonderful school life together with the beautiful girls at the academy. Korin soon wakes up to find that he has been regressed to the point where he first started 3 years ago. He vows to not repeat what happened and needs to kill Park Si-hoo. Korin needs to kill the main player. Some time ago, the system notified us that an incident with the Rochian River had happened. The dam broke, causing tons of water monsters and villagers in the town to be drowned. At such a devastating incident, Park Si-hoo laughs, finding it amazing. At that time, Korin looked at him blankly. He didn't understand his joy, but now when he thinks of it, he realizes that Park Si-hoo saw his own advantage in it, an opportunity to monopolize his experience. Though Korin decides to stop him now, as long as he stays a rank 5 rookie like him, additionally, all possible power-ups are concentrated in Merkaba Academy. Park Si-hoo, who came back stronger after entering the academy, may not be a monster right now, but no one knows how fast his power will grow. In that case, the admissions will start 5 days from now, so the best option is to kill Park Si-hoo right now. While running and picking up mushrooms, he gets a system notification informing him about a tutorial quest to save people along with the security guards. As the carriage traveling towards Merkaba City broke down on a forest of infected monsters, in the forest with infected monsters, Leon and Laura, the security guards, just killed a small rabbit monster that came in their way, being happy about it. While the fixer calls out for them, the carriage is fixed now. But as soon as they turn towards the carriage, a rank 2 werewolf appears in front of them, roaring loudly, filling the air with its terror. Korin has already arrived at the forest, but feels like it is too late since he has not arrived at the exact location yet, but can still hear the roaring and howling of the monsters. Simultaneously, Leon makes Laura get out of the way and tries dodging the monster's attack. Seeing him struggle, Park Si-hoo, who is also in the carriage, runs out of it, trying to buy Leon some time. Meanwhile, Korin stands near the bushes, wanting to see if Park Si-hoo will save these people or not. As soon as Park Si-hoo stands face to face with the monster, he notices it grabbing Leon's throat with its deadly paws. With trembling hands, Park Si-hoo tries to attack the monster to save his companion. But before he could do that, Alicia Arden, the second daughter of the Arden family who possessed Odachi, one of the 6 king swords, immediately jumps out of the carriage, out of nowhere, and attacks the monster, promising to handle this monster alone and assuring Park Si-hoo to get back. Just then, something familiar to Korin happens, and Park Si-hoo stabs Alicia from behind with his dagger. This makes Korin realize that Park Si-hoo was always the evil he wasn't able to recognize after all. Alicia looks at him with pleading eyes, not understanding the reason behind the betrayal, but Park Si-hoo pretends that his hand slipped. On the flip side, Korin is very well aware that if Alicia dies in this quest, then it will help Park Si-hoo to get his hands on the Odachi, and because of that, he would be joining Luna Arden's party, the Great Swordsman, which is even worse. Although Alicia is so strong that even after being stabbed, she takes an attacking stance and jumps back several times, increasing the distance between her and the werewolf. Calming herself down, she uses her exceptional footwork skills, emitting a very strong energy, concentrating energy in her sword. On realizing she would be able to kill that monster alone, he throws the dagger filled with dark energy at Alicia. Yet she blocks this dagger with her sword, coming to the conclusion that the excuse about slippage of hand was just a lie. Alicia then turns around to face the monsters and spots it near her face, its mouth widened to swallow her. She swings her sword with swift movement, managing to land a blow, plunging the sword into the werewolf's head, though the werewolf still bites her head. Alicia and the werewolf fall on the ground, while Park Si-hoo grabs her Odachi, planning to stab her one final time, Thinking about killing the NPC will bring an expo. Before he could kill Alicia, Corrin secretly threw a powder that was coated on tannic mushrooms, which are the favorite of forest monsters, so as soon as it was thrown on him, the forest monster lunged forward to attack him. Seeing the opportunity, Alicia is being dragged at the corner by Corrin. He thanks God as she is breathing. However, Corrin uses his dagger to remove the monster's fangs, but in the meantime, Parky sees him dragging her. Corrin stands there unfazed, mocking him for having Odachi since he killed 3 hornets in 1 minute. When Park Si-hoo looks at him closely, he immediately recognizes as none other than Corrin Locke.
Park Si-hoo takes a defensive position, gripping his Adachi tightly, demanding to know how he'd get there, which makes Corrin realize that Park Si-hoo might have forgotten everything. Taking it as a chance, distracting Park Si-hoo, Corrin charges forward swiftly, swinging his fist at Park Si-hoo's head and throwing the dirt he picked up from the ground at his eyes. To defend himself, Se-hoo wields the sword in the air, but obviously misses the attacks. Corrin dodges these strikes, but understands that Park Si-hoo is a mediocre swordsman. Moving fast enough, pushing himself forward, Corrin grabs the monster's fangs, aiming at his throat. But Park Si-hoo manages to open his eyes, counterattacking at the last moment. Corrin lunges forward, aiming the fang at Park Si-hoo's throat, intent on ending this fight, but once again Si-hoo evades. The frustration burns in Corrin's eyes. He wants nothing more than to see that fang buried deep inside Si. He charges, swinging his free arm as an act while bringing the fang in for another strike. Caught off guard by the hidden move, Park Si-hoo stumbles back, flashing across his face. Corrin crashes into him, slamming him to the ground and driving the dagger into his shoulder. Blood spills out of the wound, though terror washes over Si-hoo's face when he spots Corrin aiming the fang towards him with his other hand. Desperate, Si-hoo uses his hand to block the strike, letting the fang stab through it to avoid a blow that will make him dead. But Corrin is unstoppable. He grabs the fang with both hands and pushes, forcing it down with every ounce of strength until the fang finally sinks into Si-hoo's throat. Killing him was necessary. He is a monster seed, which would have grown further, causing numerous disasters for humanity. Just then, the system notifies us about an error occurring and player Park Si-hoo being dead. The percentage of successful completion of the main plot is calculated by analyzing the potential of the player and passing the experience points and the minimal backup down in case of a scenario that collapses minimal stats of Park Si-hoo to him. He's now an AADA class knight, the martial successor sub-player. Corrin is about to rejoice about this, yet his focus shifts to Alicia gasping for air. Reaching out to her, he notices her being affected by the peacock tree frog's poison. He notices the fang in her stomach. Knowing during training it is difficult to create this poison without using various combinations, and if Park Si-hoo's skills were a little higher, she would have been dead up till now. But since the fang is still inside her, she needs to detoxify, and the bleeding should be stopped as well. Tightening the belt around the area of her injury, Corrin stops the bleeding, though he knows biting her own tongue would create a problem. He brings Park Si-hoo's dead arm to her mouth so that she could bite on it. Additionally, he wraps his shirt around her waist, and now she is lying on the ground peacefully while Corrin prepares the antidote. Meanwhile, as the antidote is being prepared, Corrin's mind races with thoughts. He is not aware of how he traveled 3 years back, but things aren't the same. He killed a player and even saved someone. His thoughts are interrupted when Alicia murmurs to know his name, but Corrin suggests she rest, ignoring the question. He wants to keep everything about himself confidential. He reminds himself of the situation, the story of the heroic legend of Harem. This hero will be rescuing the world, taking down tons of monsters, including the final boss. Park Si-hoo was in the story so that the world would end, so Corrin has a chance to be that hero. Though even after being a sub-player, he is not allowed to use the player's equipment and staff. While drawing a circle on the ground, he thinks of using factors external to the system. Then suddenly, powerful flames erupt from the small magic circle. They swirl and then vanish just as quickly. However, he knows it worked. In his previous life, though naturally weak to magic, he had devoted himself to studying one thing: runes, ancient symbols of immense magical power. Duty, restriction, oath, 3 primal laws, the source of superhuman strength. Now with nothing left, he decides to engrave all 3 runes onto his body. While engraving these 3 runes, he promises to not turn a blind eye to the misfortunes of good people, not to perceive spirits, and to save the world. With all 3 commandments being completed, they will be applied to the player. However, failure to uphold the oath will result in certain death.
Sometime later, Alicia opens her eyes after a very long sleep. She has surprised to see herself in a bed, and as soon as she wakes up, she feels the pain she received from her recent injury. Though the nurse there informs her about being in Mercoba City Emergency Hospital and suggests she not move. Curious, she wants to know about the person who left her here, but she ends up disappointed after getting to know that her savior already left. On a nearby table, she notices her savior's belt, which still has her blood on it. To ignore it, she demands honey bomb candy from the nurse, yet gets frustrated upon getting strict instructions to have stew for now. It has been 3 days since that incident in the forest, and today's the day for Mercoba's entry test. While searching for his ID in the wallet, Koren notices a letter in there. It is from his mother, telling her son how proud she is and advising him to help the people around him. After possessing this body, Koren felt pretty strange, though he is now one of them, the ones in his family, due to the fact that they never treated him without change. Pressing forward at the train station, there are many people looking in different directions with different emotions. A girl, Maria Dunalev, the same one who was trapped by Park Siyu, a first-class second-year Mercoba mage, waves and greets those new students together. After a time when the train leaves, Maria points at the training room and introduces herself to everyone. Maria is someone who walks forward on a smooth road while getting everyone's blessings. However, tables turn pretty quickly. People face numerous mishaps, and there are tragedies that will be happening to Maria Dunalev in the future. She is the first act's final boss. After completing their journey, students are advised to get off while taking 1 potato and sweet potato each by Marriott, and then she bids them all farewell. Students come to the Freedom Hall of Mercoba Academy. Koren immediately notices a magic circle above them. Realizing that the space expansion magic is starting soon as the space expansion magic takes place, the hall turns into darkness, making all the students freak out. Though Koren stands there unfazed, already experiencing all of it. A voice can be heard in the darkness to motivate students who are backing off. It is the voice of the old Ho Mon. All of it is the same as before, as if they are in a training camp. Instantly, a man steps out from the darkness. Furman Doman, Night Faculty Professor. He wants to see every student's capabilities. So a system window appears in front of every student. It is the overall rank of each one of them. That being said, they all have to stand in front of the number sign, matching their number. As soon as Furman wishes them luck, all of them are teleported to a different location, since the battle is starting soon to analyze their skills. Josephine Clara is amazed to see this year's students have a lot of hidden talent, but she decides not to judge the first or second ranked students yet, and to wait until all the others have been assessed. In the second position is Alicia Arden, the same girl saved by Koren, Yul Ki, and Krenal Luden. And in the first position is Warren. However, it is shocking for Josephine to see Warren being enrolled. At the same time, the examiner feels disappointed seeing the 5th-ranked students being so weak. He hesitates to test the 6th-ranked ones, thinking they'll be even worse. Yet, Josephine doesn't let him do it, because each student deserves to learn. Not having much of a choice, the examiner announces that the test will start in 30 seconds. Monsters will appear based on the students' levels. Before all the students, weapon cases are dropped. In his previous life, Koren chose a sword. Most of the students chose the same weapon, but this time Koren uses a spear, a better weapon than the others. 30 seconds pass as soon as Koren chooses a weapon, and 3 shorthounds, 5th-ranked monsters appear in his space. Koren smirks looking at them. Meanwhile, they roar, their eyes filled with hunger. Abruptly, one of the shorthounds attacks Koren, but ends up being dead in the blink of an eye. This makes the other hounds furious and they lunge forward, but they disappear in seconds after being defeated by Koren. He can't help but smile due to the fact that he has way too much experience killing these species. It took Koren 12 seconds to kill these hounds. Killing them in such a short time hits him with nostalgia since in his past life, he couldn't kill these monsters in the first round and got eliminated immediately. Though this time he is just standing there waiting for the next wave to come, knowing he is going to pass his test with flying colors. But it is kind of disappointing for him as the next wave is not starting yet. Meanwhile, the examiner looking at them from the screen is hella disappointed with the players who are being defeated by such small monsters, remembering his time when he used to kill 5th ranked monsters in a total of 1 minute and 22 seconds. However, he doesn't even plan on looking at the 6th ranked players after seeing the condition of the 5th ones, although his gaze shifts to Korn, who is a player of 6th rank, assuming that there might be a bug as there are no monsters coming. Ignoring him, he looks for other passers taking 7 minutes while assuming that the 3rd rankers will be needing 2 to 3 minutes only. Little does he know that it is a lot. Korn has killed the monsters in 12 seconds only. Though the odd feeling gets back to the examiner, he can't help but ask his manager if there is a system malfunction since someone who should have been eliminated a long time ago is sitting there and chilling. However, they're also aware that malfunctions don't really happen as Josephine has created the system for these students and she can't make mistakes. Annoyed, the examiner summons the monsters by his own in Korn's space. Their eyes widen in shock when they witness Korn defeating the monsters in just 7.3 seconds. They stumble back and call out for Professor Furmox to see this exceptional sight. Unaware of everything, Furmock is confused. Despite that, the examiner learns from Furmock that the fastest record among the 3rd and 4th ranked students under his supervision belongs to a kid named Jurger who completed it in 3 minutes and 32 seconds. This is unreal for everyone. Hearing this, the examiner becomes curious and wants to see more of Korn's capabilities, assuming that he might be a son of a hunter, noticing his exceptionality at throwing the spear. In that case, he summons a 4th ranked monster, Matbor, but to his surprise, Korn kills it in 3.7 seconds. This makes him even more curious about Korn's true potential, so he sends the 3rd ranked monster, Owlbear now, because the test only goes up to 3rd ranked monsters. Being a 3rd ranked monster, Owlbears are definitely strong, so it doesn't really go into the defend mode, but attacks Korn as well. Noticing it in the attack mode, Korn quickly uses the rune magic. Flames erupt into space, engulfing the owlbear in the fire, but it doesn't seem to attack much. So as long as it gets caught in the blaze, Korn quickly attacks it with a spear and defeats it easily. All the examiners are shocked. With that, they come to the conclusion that this player is definitely not a 6th ranked player and is someone who shows quite the potential after a very long time. However, after the monster killing test, the evil spirits test begins. As soon as the evil spirits are summoned, Korn can't see or hear them because of the promise he took while engraving the runes in his body to not interfere with spirits. Korn still tries waiting for a minute, but when it is confirmed that he can actually not interfere with evil spirits, he gives up eventually. Later on, at the Merkaba Hall, students are talking about their ranks. That is when Korn's gaze darts towards Jurger Hinchpeter. In the past life, this guy got killed by Park Si-yu because he was so full of himself. Still, he is, but it is probably because of the age factor. With that, Lark, a 5th ranked player who looks evidently uncomfortable. In the past life, he was bullied and couldn't ever get over his complexes. And he also had the same look as Jurger, got killed too. Meanwhile, the director, Arukasar, welcomes all the students, wishing them luck, hoping that the students will be learning and will find their own path in this place. Later on, when they all roam around, Jurger notices Lark sitting at the corner and decides to bully him like in the past life. But this time, Korn has planned to not let him do it, so he immediately reaches out to them and cleverly talks about Jurger's tattoos, which makes Jurger happy that someone has a knowledge of tattoos like him. Korn only knows this because in his past life, when Jurger went missing, his mother came to the academy. Out of worry, she revealed that his tattoos weren't just for show. They were something she had discovered trying to protect her son who had joined the Guardian Academy. Noticing him having the same interests, Jurger quickly gets impressed and talks friendly with both Lark and Korn. At the same time, Alicia sees all this, being happy about Korn saving his fellow mate from being bullied. However, this is how Korn ends up leaving a strong impression on Lark. He remembers Lark's ability, memorize. A small smirk forms on Korn's face. He has found it, his free skill book.
In the Merkaba Academy, most of the facilities are free, even the dorms. The cafeteria is cheaper than the outside, although the most demanded and referred facility is the training room, since it helps in a lot of ways, like fighting with the spirit bodies, which were invisible to Korn earlier in the test. While Korn is practicing with the spirit bodies, the students are shocked to see a freshman doing it. Normally, students practice with these in their second semesters, but the funny part is, he is doing it so effortlessly. Meanwhile, the second-year students can't catch wind-type spirit bodies. The students make fun of Korin when he gets a powerful blow to his face. With that, the instructor walks in, demanding an explanation for Korin's practice against a spirit body. Korin calmly explains that he's training his spear skills. The sudden attention makes Korin anxious. Why was this old man approaching him so directly? Had he made a mistake during the entrance test? But the instructor, seeing Korin's determination, hands Korin 10 meal tickets as a reward and tells him to come find them if he succeeds. He'd personally offer his praise. With that, the instructor leaves seemingly in a good mood, while Korin quietly returns to his practice, thanking God that everything was fine. At the same time, Marriott looks at Korin's training. The way he is training unstoppably shows his urge to get better. Therefore, after a tough training session and getting a strong strike, Korin falls on the ground, breathing heavily, gasping for air. Quickly, Marriott hands him a glass of water, assuring him that he did good, should rest now, and will be better the next time. But Korin is relentless, as he is aware of the fact that in the past life, he had Sihu with him. Because of that, they had potions and skill books from the combination window. But now, he has to do everything on his own. So he doesn't stop and practice again. With that decision made, Korin chooses to test his limits. He knows it might be excessive, but he needs to understand how far his past abilities can be pushed. One by one, he unleashes them. Ominous Serpent Stab, Black Capture Plague Counterattack, Returning Heaven's Spin, and Pagoda Tree Mountain Throw, each strike landing heavy against the spirit. As he moves through the techniques, a thought races in his mind. In his past life, his body was weak. All the information he had about Park Sayu or the future was useless when faced with monsters and true geniuses. If he wants to stand among them this time, he needs more than knowledge. He needs immense strength. And with that, he shoots his spear with the combined skill of Ominous Serpent, Deep Righteous, Slytherin Serpent Intent, and Calamity Serpent Intent, causing such an intense result that widens Marriott's eyes. She is speechless. She decides to choose words for his talent, but ends up being quiet by seeing his outstanding skill. But obviously, it was excessive for Korin, so he ends up being on the ground all dizzy. The next day, Marriott introduces the Academy's facilities to the students. But even while being with all the students and visiting these facilities, Korin's mind drifts into thoughts. He wants to get stronger because with this weak body, he won't be able to test all his limits. And to be able to do it, the one way is commandments. His gaze shifts to Lark, remembering his promise to not turn a blind eye to others' misfortunes. So he reaches out to him and offers to go out and discuss Grimoires, a skill book. Merkaba Library has tons of books, but hides Grimoires, though they both go to the library in search of the book. Korin promises to give the skill book to him if he helps him repel evil spirits. While searching for the book, Korin opens the hidden door. As soon as they enter the door, Lark demands to know what he needs to do in order to repel evil spirits, but ends up getting a strong punch by Korin, making him unconscious on the ground.
Korin studies Lark, who is unconscious on the ground. At first he wanted to help Lark too, but he needs to complete the special quest as well. Capturing the evil spirit here can make him earn the hidden piece he wants. Though the problem is the special evil spirit, Sivia Duke. Sabancia's Duke's attacks are so powerful that people can't even tolerate the first blow and end up being dead as soon as the quest starts. However, as his promise is not to perceive any evil spirit, he can't even see the special spirit, nor are his attacks working on Korin. In that case, he offers Lark's unconscious body to Sansia in order to attack him. In this world, there are mysterious elements known as factors, forces capable of turning ordinary humans into demi-humans, like vampires or werewolves. One day, Sabancia awakens as a vampire and, unable to control his urges, kills his servant. Despite his efforts to resist the transformation, he fails. Fearing he might kill his wife and daughter, he sends them away and closes his castle. To prevent further disaster, he uses magic to imprison himself inside a book, the grimoire, now hidden in the library. Although immediately after taking over Lark's body, Sansia lunges forward to attack Corrin. Yet Corrin chose Lark since he can fully unleash his hidden physical strength. Lark cannot really do much. Even when he tries to attack Corrin, he dodges the attacks and counterattacks him. Corrin feels sorry for Lark but has to do what he has to do to clear this quest. If he possessed Lark, he would obtain the highest grade items like the Duke's cape and the vampire's armor, the same items Park Se used, which played a great role in the future. But Corrin is different. He wants to end the life of this soul kindly. In that case, he tells Sansia about what happened to his wife and daughter after he was sealed, the way his wife died, and how amazing of a hunter his daughter is. Upon receiving this information, Sansia is ashamed to attack Corrin in the first place, and they had a pretty detailed conversation before he died. However, after clearing the quest kindly, Corrin obtains the epic item Soul Dust, the grimoire, the book that Duke Sabansia's soul was sealed in, having abilities and spells. He even gained a new ability, Persistent Warrior's Regeneration, which can recover a wounded body. Although as soon as Lark wakes up, Corrin suggests he stay still, since an evil spirit possesses him, and hands him the grimoire. Seeing the grimoire, Lark's face lights up with joy, and just because Corrin didn't turn an eye to the misfortune of those who are kind, according to his promise, he earned 80 points. Based on the game mechanics, 5 stats are gained with each level up. This is the number of points he received after leveling up 16 times. He wonders if the total is compensating for the fact that he can't directly gain stats, but still, it seems like a lot of experience. 40 points came from Lark and 40 more from Sansia. At the stamina training room, Marat is distributing sweet potatoes to the students, and she also wishes Corrin luck for catching the spirit bodies today. Though the students find it funny that the 5th-ranked student would be chasing spirits, they find it unreal. However, Marat places a bet with the students on whether Corrin can catch the spirit bodies or not. Gripping the spear, Corrin hopes to catch the spirit, thinking positively because now he has points from Sabansia too. Starting with the weakest basics first, he makes himself remember the last time he used Slithering Serpent to defeat the spirit body, the most difficult among the Calamity Serpent's intentions. So he decides to use the Ominous Serpent skill. In a single blow, he catches the spirit. This is unbelievable for Corrin himself. He never expected to be improving his strength this early. Additionally, Marat congratulates him and hands him his share from the bet with the students. Later on that night, while walking around the campus, Corrin thinks about his weaknesses and strengths. At one point, his spear skills are being improved quickly, but on the other hand, with the run's magic, his mana is always low. In that case, he needs to solve this problem and then he can maintain his abilities very easily. While walking, he heard a voice. He immediately recognized it. Someone even Park Se who couldn't kill in the past life. One of the strongest forces in the heroic legend of Arhan, a notorious balance breaker, an adamant Zhang Shihuan, sitting under a tree looking pretty suspicious. It is kind of shocking to find her there in the darkness, but Corrin decides to ignore her and walk past her. But his eyes widen in shock when she doubts that he is the owner of the body he's in. Panic washes over Corrin's face. His mind races with questions. Is she guessing, or does she really know that he has possessed this body?
Hwoaran is someone like a corpse, having both human and monster within her body. She might see the color of someone's soul being in between the middle of life and death. So it was something that was meant to happen. Her recognizing Corrin has possessed somebody's body. Though Corrin acts in front of Hwoaran, pretending that her words haven't affected him and are not real. In the past life, Corrin always doubted his true form. He never understands if the real him and Corrin, the one whose body he possessed, is the same or not. And if not, then who is he? These questions about his true self always haunted him, but in the end, nothing mattered when he was on the ground lifeless. In that case, he explains to Han about his neighbor Bruce, who turns into a green giant when he is mad, though his two different personalities hate each other. What he's trying to say is that being a new soul or an original one, either way, it makes no difference whether someone chooses it or not. They were born into a body, and there's no sin in simply being born. Hearing that, Hwoarang grits her teeth, not agreeing with Korin because for her, even being born is a sin. Korin can see where the rage and agony are coming from, but he says nothing and leaves. The next morning, Korin is at the south part of the academy. He left the dorm even before the sunrise because of the mission board. The commissions there help students level up for the main quest, meaning it is a necessary course to move forward. Korin doesn't want to level up, but wants to test something else. Though his attention shifts to Alicia, who is staring at the board carefully. Not understanding her being so focused, Korin asks the reason behind her desperation. And her answer shocks him. She needs money. Even though the activity support funds for second rankers like Alicia are pretty high, she is not getting any due to the fact that those who are already wealthy, these fund support clubs don't really help them. And since her parents are permissive, she must earn her own living expenses. Looking at the board, Korin suggests she take part in a patrol mission which is cheaper, but they will accept up to 3 people. Yet Korin denies Alicia taking part with her as he has some other plans. He'll pick the best ones, find the butterfly cat. If he saves the cat dying because of the water monster, he will help the owner with the prevention of depression and will obviously get rewards on the completion of the duty promise. And just as he said, he did all of it. The commandment is activating, which means even small missions will boost his stats. This makes Korin dance in joy, but the people find him psychotic. However, his happiness doesn't last when he remembers what he forgot even after making notes. Koyen is furious because there's no sauce appeasing his desire to make chicken even after adding tons of ingredients. Immediately, Korin arrives there and advises him to add starch syrup. Keijo finds this advice foolish but ends up screaming in joy because he cracked the dish. Even helping someone like this makes Korin earn points. This is mind-blowing for him because he told the recipe to the guy for his own selfish reasons, as it will be difficult for people of Korea to survive without yum chicken. Seeing him acting all goofy and happy from the top of the roof of another building, Hwang finds him crazy. Josephine approaches her informing her about taking permission while leaving. That is when Hwang gets the flashback of Korin telling her being born is not a sin. But on the flip side, someone shouting at her, regretting that she was born. Later on, at the hunting ground, Josephine announces that first-year students will be tested on their survival skills in the hunting grounds. They need to reach the cabin at the northern end of the forest, and they will pass. Though they need to wear their rank armbands, and they will obtain points depending on their time. Korin notices Ha-jin not being there. As always, she was never there for practical tests. Just then, his attention shifts towards Alicia. She thanks him for helping her out. She is now able to cover her monthly expenses. To her surprise, he hands her a candy she loves, and without hesitation, she takes it. Abruptly, space magic is created and all the students are teleported to the forest. Korin is shocked to witness students fighting as soon as they enter the forest. The hunting ground is an event where even skilled players have to make endless attempts in order to steal others' armbands, for the sake of gaining points. But the disadvantage is that players are scattered in the overall forest at random locations. Smartly, he decides to aim for the most dangerous players. And after Huwin, it is Alicia. Little did she know Korin planted a tracking rune in the candy she ate. Korin ignores those crazy players fighting like kids and starts moving forward in the deep forest. Because as long as he deals with the strong one first, the rest are like free points. Smiling, Korin keeps heading further, being aware of where Alicia is because of the tracking rune placed inside her body. Sweat coats Alicia's face. She doesn't understand why all the people are attacking her at once, finding it unfair. Still, she attacks those players and knocks them out. Just then, a guy attacks Alicia. It was a close hit, but to Alicia's surprise, he falls on the ground unconscious out of nowhere. Alicia notices Korin, who knocked the guy out for her, making her happy. But just because she got distracted, Korin smartly attacks her armband. Her eyes are filled with tears of betrayal as she thought of him as a good person. Alicia is a pure fighting type second-ranked knight. She still finds it hard to properly use her Vigilant Eyes ability. In terms of fighting power, she is about average among the second ranks. But when she breaks down in tears, feeling betrayed because she believes Korin was a good person, he only smiles evilly. With a mocking tone, he tells her to be a good person herself and hands her over her armband.
She literally dealt with a group of students of 3rd and 4th rankers who made groups against her, though she didn't consider Korin, a 5th ranker, a threat at all. But that was moments ago. As of right now, she is struggling to save herself from Korin's attacks. He is smartly counter-attacking her by letting her attack first, in order to put her under pressure. But Alicia can sense some spaces in between those attacks. She tries to take this space as an opportunity to aim at him, but as soon as she tries attacking him, it is stopped by his weapon. First, he uses Lan to deflect the incoming attacks, pushing down Alicia's weapon. Then, he follows up with Chao, a straight-line stab that catches her off guard. Alicia's shocked. He's combining the most basic techniques with such precision. By combining these fundamentals, he creates a powerful and direct counter. Spear intent, ultimate essence, and 6 flawless steps. With the block capture plague, he sends her crashing back to the ground. Alicia pants on the ground, blocking the attack with her aura. She notices his level of mastery is exceptional over any skill he has, coming to the conclusion that he can't be a 5th rank player at all. However, Korin has finally achieved the armband, but he doesn't know yet that the battle for him is not over. Mercenary sword-controlled Dron Worski attacks Korin out of the blue with his heavy iron sword. Though he is shocked to see a 5th ranker block it, being aware of his capabilities, Dron simply puts a proposition to hand him the armband and leaves unharmed. Korin can't help but curse his poor luck since Dron is the last guy he wanted to encounter. Even after killing numerous players, he is standing without a single scratch, so the only better way out, according to him, is running. Without hesitating a bit while biting that armband, he starts running towards the cabin. Although he is surprised to see Alicia running after him while crying, because she doesn't want to die as Dron is unleashing attacks from behind. Upon arriving at the cabin, Kreno Ludin stands at the exit with golems demanding the armband. Behind him is Dron and in front of him is Kreno. Not having much of a choice, Korin takes an attacking stance, ready to fight both the guys at the same time. After some time, Korin gets inside the cabin, with 3 armbands deciding on his winning prize. A few moments ago, Korin pierced the magic sword's core before it powered up and stuck it in the ground using telekinesis. He dodged attacks with small movements, used Dron as a shield, broke the golem's crystals, and then defeated Kreno. His skill, speed, and tactics felt like a true battlefield expert. Watching him, Alicia felt like she was seeing her sister. Witnessing this, Alicia becomes more motivated to work hard. While Dron is shocked with his capabilities, and Kreno can't help but cry on the ground when Korin advises him for acting smart. And if it was Korin, he would have made a friend stand guard. Kreno has no friends. Now the strongest participant there is the druid, who gets protection of the forest. However, there are no participants, only mages too. Maria Dunalef. Though O couldn't get much protection from the forest since the experts like Marit took on the role of monsters. Seeing her cry, Marit consoles her, but something unexpected happens. She senses someone behind her. It is none other than Huar, who is not supposed to be there.
Korin, being half monster and half human, tries attacking Marriott, but ends up being frustrated after getting to know that she is a monster as of now. Inside the cabin, the receptionist is impressed to see a high score like Korin after so long. Therefore, Korin chooses his winning prizes, including a Matmer knife, a leather protective coat, and Shark Bear's bile. But as soon as he chooses Shark Bear's bile, his mind changes and he chooses Mandrez seed instead. Still, he has 17 points left, so he uses them to buy nutritional plant supplements and earmuffs. After getting out of the cabin, Korin is shocked to see Joiger and Lark obtaining 2nd and 3rd place as they work together, unlike the past life where Joiger was the biggest bully of Lark. Joiger suggests they go to the training room that night, but seeing him all boosted up, he suggests both Lark and Joiger help him find the golem core, which Krenel is searching for wordly without uttering a word. Korin is aware that it is important for Krenel, and he even worked quite often with Krenel Ludin in his past life, so they all help him find the core. At this time, Alicia is injured, Dawn is out of fighting power, and Yuel is half dead after being defeated by Marriott. Seeing her in this condition shocks Korin. He wonders what these professors are up to getting such a hard time to students. Korin approaches Yuel and helps her to stand up, but suddenly the ground starts trembling, and Yuel urges Korin to run away, blaming Marriott for something. Marion has a natural ability to analyze magic and is blessed with a large amount of mana. She's a mage who has never faced despair, frustration, or failure. She's the talented one, expected to carry on Josephine's legacy. For Marriott, the hunting ground feels like a playground. Her job is to control the difficulty just enough to help her juniors grow. But right now, she is facing Huen. Although she promised to her seniors that she would never use attack magic, she has broken that promise right now in order to save herself. She is using her full power. She tries stopping Jern, but realizing the situation has gotten out of control, Josephine appears there on time, finding Marriott in a very bad condition. In that hunting ground, Corin takes first place, while the conflict between Huen and Marriott scares the out of him, because he thinks she is already awakened as a boss, though there are 3 weeks left for her to be awakened. Pressing forward at the outskirts of the hunting ground, Corin meets an NPC based on an old legend from the heroic legend of Arhan. It's an Easter egg where a Taoist hermit asks if a gold or silver axe is yours, rewarding honesty. Originally, only certain weapons triggered it, but expert players began testing random rare items. However, when Corin does the same, the hermit asks Corin if the silver seed is his. Corin denies it, thinking no one would throw away such a valuable item. Because of his honesty, the hermit rewards him with all 3 seeds, including Monrak's white, silver, and golden seeds. Corin's eyes shine with joy. He can't help but fantasize about improving his mana. Simultaneously, the golden, white, silver mandra seeds have special capabilities. If planting a gold mandra seed, it grows as a mandra that shines with gold light, while the silver one shines with silver light. In his last life, Park Si-hoo ate the gold one and he has the silver one, but this time, all are his. Marriott becomes the first boss and awakens as a special vampire after a mission involving the Fog City's vampire John Doe in 3 weeks. Corin doesn't know how a demon agent is inside her, but there's still time. That's mainly why he showed off his power against the 2nd-ranked knights earlier, as no one would team up with a weak 5th-ranked knight. However, Marriott has finally woken up, still weak because of the injuries though. Isabel, her roommate, tries to console her. To her surprise, she is quieter than usual. While Corin has aimed to save a girl from her misfortune, deciding to train Alicia first, employ Dawn, act kind with Yuel, and become closer to Golem sorcerer Crenel to create a party for the upcoming disaster. It all will be okay, hopefully, if everything goes accordingly, and Corin is pretty confident about saving Marriott. On the flip side, something strange has unfolded abruptly. Marriott has already turned into a vampire, lunging forward to attack Isabel to suck her blood, declaring that she is pretty thirsty.
Professor Josephine has banned Warren to leave her room or to have any visitors. Huen was allowed to have private lessons from Josephine if Huen wanted to learn so can self-reflect on herself. Huen is getting bored in her room and even considers jumping out the window to be free. All of a sudden, Corin looks through the window hanging upside down and reintroduces his name to Huen. Corin has brought a cake for Huen, as he did not want to come empty-handed. Corin asks Huen to open the window for him to enter, but Huen reminds Corin that coming inside is against the school's rules. Corin laughingly claims that he's on a tree and not inside. And more importantly, Madame Josephine isn't there, so Corin won't get into any trouble. Corin had come to check up on Huen after the incident at the hunting ground, but notices that Huen does not have a single scar or signs of any injuries. Corin understands Josephine's concern to lock Huen up for 4 days for being a special case demi-human. And after what happened at the hunting ground, Huen reveals that Josephine hasn't come by for more than 4 days, which shocks Corin. The tree branch on which Corin was hanging on to snapped, making Corin fall down. Cory promises to bring Huen some food later and leaves. Corin finds it strange why Madame Josephine left Huen alone, as Huen is the most person at Merkaba Academy. Corin wonders if something abnormal might be happening as Josephine has left for 4 days, and Magic Faculty Professor Dana and Night Professor Fermac Damon are seen going towards the outskirts searching for a certain female. 3rd Security Officer Cone stops Corin, believing Corin wants to visit Marriott, and reminds Corin that his visiting request has been rejected. Corin brings Cone food and drinks, stating that Madame Josephine sent it for him. Cone is glad that Madame Josephine takes good care of people below her. This was all part of Corin's plan to go into the room, as Corin's request to visit Marriott was rejected, and Isabel, who was protecting Marriott, had also gone missing, and there was a guard assigned to the doorstep, increasing Corin's suspicions. Cone's stomach gets upset after eating the food, and Corin leads Cone to the washroom. Cone asks Corin to guard the door till Cone gets back and warns Corin not to go inside. Corin accepts with a smile on his face and enters the room as soon as Corin leaves. Korin is in utter shock to see Isabel on the bed instead of Marriott, while Marriott is nowhere to be seen. Korin notices a vampire bite mark on Isabel's neck. Korin realizes that Marriott has awakened her vampire powers, but is in disbelief that Marriott was supposed to awaken her powers a month later, as Korin knew it from his past life. Now Korin realizes that this was what the professors wanted to hide, and have gone in search of Marriott. Korin recalls the steps to defeat Marriott from his past life. First, they have to deal with the monster wave. In the second phase, Korin and his team will hold back Marriott with magic circles. The third phase would be to face the monster Marriott, and last phase would require a combination of first-year names. Korin knows it would be easier to move forward till phase 3, but soon remembers that Korin's teammates Alicia is injured, Drawn Weapon got destroyed, and Ludin's golem was destroyed. All of these incidents were Korin's fault, and the first-year names are wiped out because of Korin. Korin gets worried for not having a team. In Korin's past life, Marriott attacks her roommate. Korin and his team were led by Park, waiting below the dorm to deal with the matter quickly, although Park Shu had purposely let Marriott go. However, now things have become a mess, all thanks to Korin. Alicia's bones have been broken into 8 pieces. Cranlow is useless without the golem core. Korin thought Huan would be helpful, but finds it to be more of a risk for Huan to join. Korin recruits Dronwersky with the soul dust as collateral payment. Secondly, Korin recruits Druid Yule, promising to teach her the Ogam alphabet. Yoger and Lark join the team to gain honor and fame. Korin has assembled the minimum conditions for the team to at least pass the first phase. Korin remembers Park Shu's words of Marriott digging a tunnel and hiding in the forest, and the only forest in Merkaba Academy is the hunting ground. Drawn wonders how they will find Marriott. On Korin's request, Ul asks the spirits to find the location of Marriott's hiding. Everyone can see the spirits except for Korin. All of a sudden, the team points to a monster coming at Korin's back. Korin slashes it in half. The team starts facing the sea of monsters coming at them. Yoger and Lark ask Korin if this is Marriott's doing. Korin denies it because it is something else. Korin sets everyone in place for their attack formations. Drawn is admired by Korin's skills and believes Korin's 5th rank status is unjust because Korin is showing true signs of a good strategist and leader. Calling Korin a commander, Yoger asks the Den if Marriott is controlling them. Korin responds that Marriott is not a puppeteer, but that monsters attack based on their habits. The monsters are basically running away from another threat that they could not respond to. The major threat is revealed to be Marriott herself. Korin assembles a team and orders them to take place, while Korin takes the front, preparing for the next phase.
Korin and his have defeated the monsters and are getting ready for Phase 2, Marriott's entry. Ul notices Marriott crying. Drawn knows that Marriott's crying doesn't change anything and they have to subjugate the demon. Marriott blocks a heavy iron sword attack with her orb shield. Lark states that the orb is a familiar born from a vampire's blood and is surprised to see a newly awakened vampire use an orb shield with such ease. Korin assures Lark that they do not need to be afraid that the vampire has just been born and won't be able to receive Marriott's blood or mana properly. While the vampire won't be supplied blood from Marriott, all it can do is block the squad's attack. Drawn reminds Korin that Marriott is a mage, and for a mage, the defense is always a weakness, which the vampire has covered, so it is something to be concerned about. Yet, Korin still doesn't find it to be a problem for them. Marriott is completely possessed and has lost control of the vampire powers and begins a wide rage attack. Ul sells out that she doesn't know about any other place, but the forest is her stage, and Ul manages to create a wooden shield to block Marriott's attack. Jorger thinks that the shield might break from the attack. Ul has used half of her mana, and her mana heart begins to throb as an after effect of the hunting ground. Ul is just about to reach her limit, but keeps on going because of the promise Korin had made her. Korin assures Ul to keep going for a bit longer, as Korin intends to turn the tables in just 5 more moves. Korin knows from the game and from his past life that Marriott won't be at her full power until the 4th phase. Korin makes Lark leave before Ul, as Korin knows Lark can use his beginner magic only 2 more times. Lark is surprised to know Korin's calculative accuration. Korin alerts the rest of his squad to be ready when Marriott starts using her alchemy magic Freeze. The wooden shield collapses. Ul notices the earth, the gods, and the bugs responding to her. It is revealed that Korin had engraved an ancient text for an ancient method to activate an ace up his sleeve and required Ul to activate it. Korin's plan was to summon the giant wicket doll named Wicker Man, who can only be activated by a sage of the forest, such as Ul,
Korn's squad, including Ul, are shocked to see the Wicker Man being summoned. Korn points Jorger towards an owlbear monster being still alive and asks him to throw it to the Wicker Man. Jorger is surprised to know that Korn was serious about the owlbear being alive and throws it as Korn had instructed. It was actually Korn's intention to leave the owlbear alive for the Wicker Man as a sacrifice. As long as the sacrifice burns inside the Wicker Man's hollow prison, its golem-type magic will keep the Wicker Man moving till the sacrifice completely burns out. Wicker Man charges towards Marriott. Ul is struggling to maintain the Wicker Man. Korn reminds Ul that if she stops now, they all will die. Marriott begins attacking with beams towards the Wicker Man, and Jorger is worried if that's going to be a problem. Korn assures everyone that they're surely going to win with this move. All of a sudden, Korn is in utter shock to see that Marriott has extinguished the Wicker Man's fire. Everything Korn had anticipated backfired, leaving Korn confused. Korn makes Ul leave as Ul's presence will not be making a difference anymore. Korn charges towards Marriott with Drawn and Jorger following him. Drawn uses his direct acceleration sword attack but fails to break Marriott's orb. Jorger, with a smile on his face, lands an attack with his special move called Cumulative Destruction and manages to break the orb. Jorger starts getting overconfident only to be scolded by Korn to stay on guard. The third phase has started and Marriott has summoned the Blood Realm, trapping Korn, Drawn, and Jorger. Drawn and Jorger pass out from the strong pressure. Korn is now the only one standing. It is revealed that Marriott was only using minimal defense up until now. The orb has now forcefully sucked her blood and mana to create the Blood Realm. Korn never imagined to be the last one standing, as it usually requires at least 3 people until the third phase. However, it doesn't matter to Korn if he has to phase Marriott all by himself, as he believes to get the same result with or without anyone.
A flashback of the events is shown that Marat, after becoming a vampire, could not control her bloodlust, leading to consuming Isabel's blood. After realizing that she had treated her friend Isabel as a livestock, Marat ran towards the forest until Korn came to find her. Fast forward to the present, Korn is facing the dog demon summoned by Marat, daring to bite a human. The demon attacks Korn only to have Korn face it easily. Korn mocks the demon. The demon somehow disappears only to be noticed by Korn that the demon is moving at a high speed, making it invisible to the naked eye. Korn decides to teach the demon a lesson and attack the demon's weak point. Korn already knows the demon's weak spot from his previous life, making his work easier. Korn admires the demon for protecting its creator Marat until the end, finally putting an end to the demon's life. Korn promises the demon that he'll save Marat, calling her the demon's mom. The final phase is about to start. Marat will put one of the squad members facing her in critical condition. In the final phase, therefore, this final phase cannot be completed alone. Korn recalls from his past life that Marat attacks one of the members to suck his blood while the others try to rip Marat off the wounded member. However, now it's just Korn to face Marat alone. Marat attacks Korn and starts sucking Korn's blood. Korn has developed a persistent warrior's regeneration and endures his pain. Korn lets Marat suck his blood with ease, believing that Marat did not kill anyone after becoming a vampire, unlike Sansiaduk. Korn believes he can change the events. To Korn's surprise, Marat pulls away from him. Marat cries and apologizes to Korn. Korn is happy that he was able to save Marat. Korn remembers and is grateful for his master's teachings and chooses to walk a different path than Park Si-hoo.
After the events at the hunting ground, Marat is locked up in the space prison created by Professor Josephine. Marat is delighted after having potatoes for a long time. Korn has come to visit Marat. Korn requests Josephine for permission to enter Marat's cell. Josephine is hesitant to permit Korn from entering considering the danger for Marat. But Korn assures Josephine that he trusts Marat. Korn is surprised to see Marat eating potatoes and that Marat's taste buds still recognize the taste of them. Marat states that potatoes always taste good, no matter what. Korn gets closer to Marat's face, only to be driven away by Marat. Marat is embarrassed that she smells bad and doesn't want Korn being so close to her right now. Korn reminds her that he also had a bad odor when Marat bit Korn's neck, further frustrating Marat into embarrassment. Marat reveals her fear to Korn that had scared Marat in the events of the hunting ground. Even though Horowin only coincidentally ran into Marat, who his showcase of powers forced the vampire inside Marat to react. Marat admires Korin's determination that even after being ridiculed, Korin still persisted and succeeded every time. Korin states that all of his doings were nothing, as Korin only likes happy endings where the good guys are rewarded and the bad guys are punished. Korin calls Marat a good person and would like Marat to always be happy, making Marat blush. Marat asks Korin to leave as she wants to wash up and finish eating her potatoes. After Korin leaves, Marat wonders if she deserves to be happy or not. Korin believes that Marat will soon be released even after the events, as Horwin, being a demi-human, has also been allowed to go to school with no problems. Korin is called by Chairman Aru to discuss some matters. This is the very first encounter between Chairman Aru and Korin. Aru asks Korin about his condition and states that Marat's condition is to be discussed. Korin is shocked to hear this and requests to not have Marat punished. Chairman Aru comforts Korin that there is no punishment for Marat, and she also thinks that Marat is not dangerous. The purpose of bringing up the topic of the punishment was to check Korin's attitude towards it, as Korin was the one who fought Marat. Chairman Aru tells Korin that Marat will be released from isolation after her stability is confirmed. Aru Kasar bows down and thanks Korin for his contributions and promises to pay Korin back at his very best. Korin is impressed by the chairman's words and asks Aru Kasar to raise his head as the payback favor to Korin. Marat is thinking over the incident with tears and how she harmed her friends. Marat wonders how she should apologize and questions if she would be forgiven or not. More importantly, Korin's previous words are ringing inside Marat's head continuously regarding Korin's devotion and sincerity. Marat realized that a piece of her life will be immortalized in her memory forever. 1 week has passed since the Marat incident, and Korin hears the students of Merkaba Academy discussing if Marat is dangerous or not and will not be attending the classes. Korin is surprised to hear that Marat is still in isolation after a week. On the other hand, Marat's isolation has already been finished. Although everyone was asking about her powers and health, Marat could not bear to let herself free with the guilt of not seeing her friend Isabel there. Marat wondered if Isabel was afraid of her and hated Marat for past events. Marat is almost deciding to leave the academy, but suddenly hears a knock on the door. Marat opens the door to find Isabel hugging her and asking about her health. Marat inquired if Isabel is not afraid of her. Isabel reveals that before fainting, she saw Marat's face after biting Isabel. Isabel assures Marat that they will be friends no matter what. Marat cries out thanking Isabel. Isabel feels sorry for Marat being alone with guilt and feeling bad for herself. Isabel states that she already felt better, but the hospital did not allow her to leave, but a junior helped her sneak out to meet Marat. The tall and handsome junior has already disappeared with Isabel looking for him. Marat is ashamed as she realizes that Korin has once again helped her. Korin is delighted that the first part of the story has a happy ending for everyone, even after unexpected occurrences, which were not seen in Korin's past life or the game. Korin is, however, pleased that he helped confirm the beginning of a new world.
Korin is training to get stronger and faster for the upcoming challenges. Korin's training is interrupted by Marriott praising his efforts and how Korin is working too hard. And back to normal, as if nothing happened. As Korin is working hard, then he needs to be fed a lot. Marriott reveals that she has prepared food for Korin. Korin is surprised to see more than enough food, but is grateful to eat as Korin was hungry. Marriott notices Korin's bleeding hand, and Korin asks Marriott if something is wrong with his face. Marriott is ashamed of drooling at the sight of Korin's blood. Korin casually inquires Marriott if she's drinking blood nowadays, and if there's a difference between live blood and a blood pack. Marriott accidentally explains Korin's blood to be yummy, but corrects herself to explain with an example of frozen meat and fresh-cut meat for the blood pack and live blood. Korin offers that Marriott can drink his blood sometimes, as Korin has the ability to regenerate and endure. Marriott, being ashamed, changes the topic as she doesn't want to be a bother for Korin, and Korin should avoid saying stuff like that. Marriott offers Korin a bottle of her blood, stating that a vampire's blood acts as a healing elixir. Korin drinks Marriott's blood without any embarrassment in front of Marriott. Marriott asks if Korin liked the taste of blood. Although the taste was bitter, Korin still feels stronger than he was in his past life. Korin believes he now can start the scenario with the girl he was training for. Alicia Arden is a direct descendant of the Arden renowned family of swordsmanship and a second-rank knight. Alicia's life has changed a lot from before. After feeling the gap between herself and Korin, a fifth-ranked knight Alicia met during the hunting ground practice. Alicia has put in the effort to develop herself more. However, Alicia is fundamentally lazy, with no aspiring heart for swordsmanship.
Despite being a near-genius swordsman, Alicia was a terrible student at the academy with failing marks. Alicia was relieved to have a break from her family and all the hardships and daily training imposed on her. Instead, Alicia took the time to shop and enjoy her life. Korn catches Alicia in the shop inquiring about Alicia's absence from the training room. Alicia makes an excuse of having assignments and missions. Korn offers Alicia a way to make more money by joining Korn's party. Alicia is pissed at why Korn is always looking for her. In Korn's presence, Alicia felt as if her lazy habit of trusting her talent has been exposed. For Alicia, Korn's methods are beyond hard, and Korn always gets Alicia to focus on the importance of basics. Korn reveals the mission's reward of 2 gold coins for a party of 2 for a second-rank mission. Alicia agrees to join, thinking of buying clothes from the earned reward. Korn also wants Alicia to join on a short-term mission with the reward of 20 silver coins, increasing Alicia's greed to join for the reward. Korn had already anticipated Alicia's decision to join in for the money. Alicia usually preferred patrolling missions to just follow designated routes, ensuring there are no problems, as the monsters that came near the city were at most 4th or 5th rank, simply implying that Alicia usually avoids facing higher-rank missions. At the mission, Alicia has defeated 10 low-rank monsters and asks the knights to sell the leather to make them some money. Alicia starts to gloat when the knights start praising her talent from the Arden family. However, in reality, Alicia was looked down upon by her family for being weak and always compared to her sister, Luna Arden, who already reached the supreme stage at Alicia's age. However, with her recent victory, Alicia is still seen gloating. As the patrolling is about to end, Korn and Alicia's group is signaled by the preceding patrol group with a magical firework about a nest of second-rank monsters. The knights are relieved to have Alicia in their group. Alicia gets nervous, and Korn smiles for being right about the nest of monsters being wolves centered around the werewolf Alicia had defeated when she was poisoned. Korn and Alicia's group easily manage to defeat the wolves this time as well. All of a sudden, a first-rank monster, Doulahan, appears, making Alicia nervous. Alicia tries to fight the Doulahan with a series of attacks. However, the monster dodges all Alicia's attacks with ease. The Doulahan gets a hold of Alicia. Alicia screams and calls for Korn, only to find out that Korn himself is occupied fighting monsters. At the very last moment, the Doulahan's head is cut off with a sword, saving Alicia. Alicia, while thanking the savior, finds out that the one to save her is none other than Luna Arden, Alicia's older sister, the greatest swordsman of the Arden family's generation, who will continue to walk the path of the sword.